What is going on, Brihive? We are back with another live stream. I hope everyone had a wonderful New Year's because these celebrities, they're having wonderful or maybe not so wonderful New Year's. We got a couple of cases that we have updates on and a couple of cases that we are going to be covering that are brand new. So if you guys are watching live, make sure you go ahead and drop in the chat. Let us know that you're watching live. If you're watching on the replay, go ahead and drop in the comment section to let us know you're part of the replay crew. And I don't know if y'all can hear it in my voice, but I am sick again. I guess December, January. Hopefully this doesn't keep going, but we are going to power through the live stream. I'm super excited to be back in a new year, 2024. We're going to be doing some different things on the channel, so we will touch base on that in just a moment. Make sure while you guys are popping in, you hit the like button because y'all, we got 3 cases and an update on Mr. Beast, Deez nuts. We've been trying to update it for several weeks now, and Kimmy was finally able to find the actual injunction for us. I didn't have time to look for the actual stipulation and what Mr. Beast has to do in order to not be brought back into court. We'll talk about that a little bit when we jump onto that indictment. Then we have Jodi Hildebrandt, who we thought were going to force the children to go in trial against her and testify to the things that they suffered at the hands of Jodi Hildebrandt and their mother, Ruby Frank. For those of you who do not know what I'm talking about, we are going to get into it later. So make sure you stay in so you can kind of get a recap of the stories here and then get the update as always. And then who else do we have? We have Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart, of all people, suing Tasha K, which we have covered on this channel before. If you don't remember who Tasha K is, she is a fellow YouTuber who was sued and lost, or sued, and Cardi B prevailed on defamation. She defamed our beloved, I don't know if it's y'all beloved, but my beloved, Cardi B defamed her, and Cardi B was able to win in a federal defamation case. And now Kevin Hart is suing her for not necessarily defamation, although a lot of the blogs are putting that it's for defamation, but it's not necessarily defamation. It's more on the extortion side of things. So we're going to go ahead and check that one out for you guys. And then we had Paula Abdul, which we thought we were going to see the end of the SA claims from long time ago. But no, she had to be the last one to file this motion. Let me see, what day did she actually file? It had to be the 29th because that was a Friday. Let's see. The holiday weekend. Yep, she filed December 29th, submitted this. I don't know if it was the end of the day or what, but Paula Abdul is now suing under that SA Act that allowed people to bring up their SA claims from way back in the day against these celebrities. And we're going to have an update on that. Let me go ahead and check, or not an update, that's a brand new case that we're going to be covering. I'm checking my private chat back here. All right, sounds good. Okay. Go ahead, y'all, and comment in the comment section or the chat box if you're watching live which case you want to cover first. I did just check the poll. If you missed the community tab post, I don't know if you need to turn on notifications in order to make sure you get in the community tab post. Jeez, can I learn how to talk today? It's the new year. It's the new year. And we got a couple votes in, a good amount of votes in, actually. We got 41 votes. The poll was, which case do you want to hear first? We're going to cover Jodi Hildebrandt guilty plea. Are we going to cover that first? Kevin Hart defamation lawsuit or Paula Abdul's SA lawsuit? I'm probably going to actually start with Mr. B since it's pretty short and it's not on the thumbnail today. And then we'll get into the other three cases. So if you did not have an opportunity to vote on the poll on the community tab, go ahead and drop into the comment section which case you want to hear first. I am going to jump into the comment section and see who is watching live. So if you have not said hello or what's up or whatever the heck you want to put in the chat, please go ahead and put that in the chat. Y'all, I haven't done the intro to the channel in a long time, but I'm also thinking of making a little fun intro that probably is going to sound corny to a lot of people, but I think it's cute. Not ready to introduce it yet because it's just spinning in my head right now, but we'll introduce it. We have Z Seltzer, a member of the channel. Welcome back to the live stream. Saying hi, chat, Brihive with some emojis. Hello and welcome back into the live stream. We have Kimmy Locker, our member, moderator, paralegal, and consultant of the channel. Hello, welcome back into the live stream. Nice to have you here and also backstage. We have Crystal Harris giving a virtual hug. Love it. Thank you. Definitely need it with this cold that's trying to creep in on me. Cardova82, hello, welcome back into the live stream. Nice to see you tonight. Saying hi, everyone. May 2024 be a year. I'm like, May, it's not May yet. May 2024 be a year even better than you hope for. Yes, I am hoping that 2024 is this channel's year. Like I said, we're doing some different things on the channel. If you have not noticed, I actually removed all of my trademark videos on the channel. So trying to re-get the SEO going. We'll talk about it a little bit more later. Tanya D, another member of the channel, saying hello, member and moderator of the channel, saying hello, chat, hello, and welcome back into the live stream. Nice to see you in the chat and also this year. Chantel, hello, everyone, hello, and welcome back into the live stream. We got some good cases to cover today. Super excited. Cardova82 says hi there to Tanya D. A gorgeous 2024 for you and your loved ones. Yes, of course. Tanya D saying welcome to 2024. Make sure you hit the like button on your way in, dropping a B emoji. Yes, of course. If you haven't already, please do hit the like button. It does help us out in the algorithm, and we're actually doing pretty good. We have 15 likes already with 23 people watching live. So if you are not one of the 15 people that have hit the like button, make sure you do so now. Kimmy Locker says, Paula Abdul really waited until the last minute to file. She said, I wouldn't be surprised if she filed at like 5 p.m. on Friday. What do y'all think? She waited until the absolute last minute. They were like, December 31st is the last day to file, but December 31st was a Sunday, so who's filing on Sunday, right? So yeah, she waited until the last minute to file. Small says, what up, Brihive? Hope everyone is well. I'm pretty sure that is hella swanky. Hello, welcome back into the live stream. Member of the channel on her other channel. Nice to see you tonight. Irene, and also moderator. Irene Calexico, I hope I said that right, saying Happy New Year. Bree and everyone, Happy New Year to you. Welcome into the live stream. Nice to see you tonight. We have Phoenix Fire saying good evening. Good evening. Welcome back into the live stream. Tiny D says, I hadn't heard about the Paula case. It literally just came out, I think like last night, maybe? I started seeing it last night. So it's pretty new. It's pretty new. And I'm surprised a lot of the YouTubers are not covering it. I've seen a couple of articles, but I haven't seen any YouTubers cover it. So hopefully this channel can get ahead on it, right? Irene Calexico says, I think Jodi Hildebrandt to go first. And y'all, we are not going to read like through her plea agreement because it's very similar to Ruby Frankie's. I actually meant to pull up the actual hearing and I did not do that. So Kimmy, if you have time to grab the hearing for us, that might be helpful. We have Def and Spicy, another member of the channel, saying hi, hello, and welcome into the live stream. Nice to see you today. Irene Calexico says, I'm curious what Hildebrandt and Frankie's sentences will be. That we're not going to know that today. So they only pled guilty. I think Ruby's is going to be in February. I can only anticipate that Jodi is also going to be in February. So we won't really know until did they announce? I didn't watch the hearing. So that might be helpful to do. Alicia G says, hey, Bree, missed your beautiful face. Hello, welcome into the live stream. Nice to see you again. Hope you had a wonderful New Year's. G14 says, G14 Classified says, hello, and welcome into the live stream. Small says, ooh, I want to hear about Tasha K suit plus Paula Abdul. For sure, just caught up on 2 times. Well, welcome up into, what do you call it? Real time? I don't know. Welcome to the future, I guess. Baby Meatball says, hey, friends. Hello. Nice to see you again in the live stream. How are you doing today? Stiller with RSD says, hey, I would love to hear the Paula case first. She had RSD CRPS. Oh, I didn't know that. So Yeah, we're gonna cover it. I'm waiting for a lot more votes are coming in on the live stream. Actually, maybe we should do a poll on the live stream. Small says, indeed, it's me, Hella Swinky, aka Toddler Hands. Welcome into the live stream. Cheryl C, hello, welcome back into the live stream. Nice to see you again today. All right, y'all. We got to get into the case. I was doing good, and then I started stuttering over my words. So let's wrap it back up. Let's get back into it. We're going to jump right into these nuts. Oh, if you guys missed that live stream, make sure you go back when we actually covered the complaint for these nuts. Trademark infringement, Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast, for those of you who do not know what's going on in that case, we are going to get into an update and then, or not the update, we're going to do a recap and then get into the update. All right, we got my little janky bee going across the street, going across the screen in order to switch us into the next part of the live stream. So we have Mr. Beast, a fellow YouTuber, or maybe not a fellow YouTuber because he's like a semi-celebrity. I guess, is he a celebrity at this point? YouTuber. He has like, what, 23 million or whatever, probably more than that. I'm probably messing his stats up. Millions and millions of subscribers on YouTube. He does all of these game shows. He recreated Squid Games, and he has been creating a couple of food ventures, one of them being Mr. Beast Burgers, who he tried to sue his business partner, and then they sued him back. And then we have Deez Nuts, which is like a protein bar, granola bar, whatever. It's like a peanut butter flavor. But there is this other company who actually has a trademark called Deez Nuts, but it's spelled DEE', like your name is D and the nuts belong to you. But his is Deez Nuts, like the spin on is it a millennial joke? Is it a Gen Z joke? Because I'm pretty sure he's like younger than me. But a joke where they'd be like, whatever, I'm not even going to get into the joke. But his is spelled DEEZ and then nuts. Kind of a spin on that joke. In my opinion, it's a spin on the joke, right? So this older company that sells roasted peanuts decided that they were going to sue Mr. B, the ultra famous freaking YouTube guy, because he basically stole their name. He's selling like chocolate bars, but they're selling nuts. It's all in the food aisle. It could be sold in the food aisle, and they're suing him for trademark infringement. And honestly, they probably would have won if it went to trial. So Mr. Beast got ahead of it and decided that they were going to agree to basically, like, he agrees that he violated the trademark and that he has to stop using that trademark. So let's go ahead and get into the final order granting a permanent injunction so that we could see what was all said. I don't know if they got the actual agreement in the works. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Kimmy, for getting us the hearing for Jodi. So we have that ready to go. Everyone say thank you to Kimmy helping us out there. All right. Let me actually learn how to share the screen, Brie. Like, get it together. It's a new year. New year. Let's get it going. All right. We got Deez Nuts LLC versus Feastables Inc., who is Mr. Beast is the owner of Feastables. This is the final order granting permanent injunction against Feastables. We tried to cover this before, I think 2 weeks ago, but it was one that got rejected by the court. So this one actually got approved by the court. So this cause is before the court on a joint motion for entry of stipulated judgment granting permanent injunction against defendant Feastables, filed on November 17th, 2023. So they got through this case really, really, really fast. So if you guys missed the live stream on this one, make sure you go back and check it out. Maybe I'll link it to the end of this video because I'm trying to get like YouTube savvy now. Maybe we'll even put it in the description box. Yeah, probably. That would probably make sense, actually. And a little card. Let me get off of strategy on the live stream. But okay, so they decided to enter a motion for a permanent injunction. Kimmy mentioned in the backstage, everyone is saying that Mr. Beast lost his trademark lawsuit, which may be true, maybe not. He basically conceded. He basically pleaded no contest at this point. If we're talking about a criminal trial, he's basically admitting liability at this point, but he's probably either getting away with it by either paying them some money or stopping to use the trademark, or both, right? So did he necessarily lose? No, he just agreed agreed to disagree and go, or not agree. He agreed to agree and go away versus trying to fight this out, trying to prove that he has some type of different, basically trying to prove that they're not going to be confused with these nuts. They're food. They're in the same category. He was most likely going to lose. Now, is Mr. Beast's trademark probably more famous than Deez nuts roasted peanuts? Probably, because I've never heard about them prior to this lawsuit. And they seem to be a pretty small nut company. Pretty small company that kind of sold their products at different little festivals and things like that. So when you're comparing them to Mr. Beast, and they may be very popular in the area that they're in, I just never heard of them. I think they sold in like Florida and down south places like that. So to me, I didn't know about them. Mr. Beast, I did know about his chocolate bars. Did I ever buy one? No. Do I still see him in Walmart? Yes. Am I ever going to buy one? Probably not. But from now on, he won't even be known as Deez nuts. He's going to have to change his name. And the thing about, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm going on a whole tangent. The thing about Mr. Beast is that this was not like his brand name. It was just kind of a name of one of his products. Like if you go to McDonald's and you see a McChicken nugget, it's not necessarily, it is a McDonald's trademark, but it's within a family of trademarks. So his chocolate bars were called Feastables, but the one with peanut butter was called Deez nuts, right? Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Okay. Let's go back into it. They filed it on November 17th as modified by the notice of withdrawal of request to retain jurisdiction to enforce settlement agreement and submission of the proposed final order filed on December 5th, 2023, collectively modified joint motion. So they agreed to basically get rid of this case. Accordingly, after a review of the modified joint motion, the courts find: 1, on August 25th, 2023, plaintiff filed a verified complaint seeking a permanent injunction inter alia against defendants Feastable Inc. and for committing trademark infringement under the Lanham Act, unfair competition under the Lanham Act, Florida common law, let's see here, and trademark infringement, Florida common law, unfair business or unfair competition, and deceptive and unfair trade practices under the Florida Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act. What a very specific name. They find number 2, that as set forth in the parties' modified joint motion, plaintiff and defendants have agreed to the entry of this final order granting permanent injunction against Feastable. Let's see. Why is my screen keep moving? Okay. It is hereby ordered in a judge. 1, plaintiff has maintained the presumption of validity of the federally registered trademark for these nuts, which identify processed nuts under International Class 29 and shall continue to enjoy the exclusive right therein. And we're going to talk about what this means in a moment. As such, the court directs that upon receiving actual notice of this order by personal service or otherwise, defendants, its respective members, officers, directors, all the people, be permanently enjoined from manufacturing or causing to be manufactured, purchasing, importing, exporting, advertising, marketing, distributing, offering for sale, selling, or commercial exploiting in any manner snacks, food bearing Deez nuts mark and or reproduction, counterfeits, copies, or colorable imitations thereof, including but not limited to the Deez nuts mark. It is further ordered that for a period of 18 months, this court shall retain jurisdiction over the action for the purpose of implementing and enforcing the permanent injunction done and ordered in Jacksonville, Florida. They went ahead and agreed to enter the order. So let's scroll back up. What the heck are they talking about? What's happening here? So they basically agreed to enter an injunction. We went over that part. For all of those violations, he basically admitted to those things. As for there is a permanent injunction against Mr. Beast. What does that mean? Mr. Beast can no longer sell these nuts. He can still sell the chocolate bar, but he basically has to change the name. Now, that's why I wanted to see what the actual agreement was, because generally in situations like this where there's trademark infringement, and it's very clear that the person loses, right? He basically agreed to just go away. They generally give you a little bit of time to go ahead and get rid of the products, like try to sell out as much as possible prior to just saying it's a clear cutoff. So one, I don't know what the answer is to that. If I can find the document, then maybe we'll look at it again. And then we have the plaintiffs maintain the presumption of validity of the federally registered trademark. For those of you who do not know, when you have a trademark, you have to defend against it. That's why Mickey Mouse is always suing everyone that makes Mickey ears. I'm talking about Disney, right? They're always suing people because they have to protect their trademark. You use it or you lose it, and you have to protect against it or you lose it. So this is what this paragraph is saying. They basically defended their trademark. They still have that exclusivity of the trademark. And Mr. Beast making these nuts did not make their trademark invalid, basically. And then it says as such, the court directs upon receiving actual notice, Mr. Beast has to stop selling these nuts, okay? He cannot sell it anymore. He has to change the name for it. What is the name going to be? I don't know. But he cannot make a replication of these nuts. And then the court is going to retain jurisdiction. So if Mr. Beast, let's say they tell him he has 6 months to stop manufacturing or whatever he needs to do to change the packaging, and he doesn't do it in 6 months, they can then, the plaintiff can then bring it back to court and have the judge do something about it. Basically is what's going on there. And y'all, I'm sorry if I sound stuffy. For those of you that missed the beginning of the live stream, I am catching a cold, so I'm having a hard time breathing right now. So hopefully you can't hear it too bad. Okay. So that is, now I have a water mustache. That is the update on Mr. B. So I'm going to go ahead and jump back into the chat and see what's going on. I think Kimmy pulled some chats that are related to what we're talking about. Let's see here. Okay, Small says, and Hella Swanky, aka Hella Swanky, says, LOL, that bee tickles me every time. I love it. It's like the Brihive community pet. Now I feel like I can't get rid of it. We have adopted the bee. Can you have the bee as a pet? I mean, there are bee farmers, but I don't know if they like consider them as pets. Maybe not. I don't know. Kimmy Watkins says to Smalls, it's not a matter of who's going to let us have a bee as a pet. It's who's going to stop us. That is true. That is actually true. Who's going to stop us from having an animated bee as a pet? I don't think they can. Kimmy Watkins says, I think I would have been way smarter to license their IP to Mr. Beast. Yes. And get a cut of his sales, but to each their own. I definitely agree with that, Kimmy. But my other question is, I mean, like, Mr. Beast's burgers was doing so bad. I'm wondering what the sales were like for these chocolate bars. Are those doing any better? I felt like he had some controversy over the bars too, but I could be lying. Don't listen to everything that I say on the live stream because I could just be speculating. But no, I think that would have made so much more sense. I think they should have trademarked these nuts and basically put it as a spinoff of theirs and then license the name to Mr. Beast and make a little cut of money. Because like they said, they're selling at like festivals and they may have a website. I don't know if they have like an actual full store, but Mr. Beast is definitely marketing to the point where he can sell Mr. Beast burgers out of allegedly 7-Eleven stores and still make a profit. Although he's trying to get out of that contract, his name is so big, it does make sense to license the name. I agree with you. Tony D says, I love that bee. Oh, the bee's cute. I spent a lot of time making the bee, so I'm glad you guys love it. Kimmy Locker says, sales for Mr. Beast burgers were allegedly good. The quality was just dog water. Yeah, exactly. He had a lot of sales, but it was because of his name. It's not that the food was good or people just wanted to review it and talk about how bad it was. Maybe that's what it was. Let's see here. All right. So that is what we have for the chat right now. If y'all got some things to say, go ahead and drop it in the chat and I will get to it when I can. We're going to move on to the cases that we actually previewed. The cases that we actually previewed for today's live stream. I think Cheryl C says worker bees and the queen bee are females. Drone bees are males. Based on this info, I think our swoop bee must be a female. Has to be. It has to be. Well, not to offend any of our male watchers. The channel is primarily female. So, but we do have some guys. We do have some guys hanging out with us too. So that's okay. I agree, Kimmy, with the comment you just put in the private. Yeah, I know. I was like, I had already decided to skip over it. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's see. We had some chats. I think we're gonna cover Hildebrandt, even though that was no. Let's save that one to the end, just in case. If you don't want to hear about it, you can go ahead and hop off of the live stream because I know that case is sensitive in nature. So if you don't want to hear about Jodi Hildebrandt, which includes CA, do you call it CA? Some harm to younger individuals. So if you don't want to hear about it, we'll save that one for last. So let me go back to my little vote here and see whether Kevin Hart or Abdul is the winner. I think in the live stream chat, Abdul is the winner, but let's see where it is on our YouTube community post. If you did not vote on the community post, I'm going to try to do more polls so that people can vote on which case they want to hear first. So make sure you are checking that out. And y'all, I'm sorry, I cannot find the vote. Come on, vote. Here we go. Kevin Hart is the winner. So we'll start with Kevin Hart. He got more votes about who to go first. So we're going to go ahead and jump into Kevin Hart suing Tasha K. We did a brief recap just a moment ago, but let's go ahead and throw our... Yeah, so it is a girl. Did you guys see the crown on it? Yeah. Not that boys cannot wear crowns, but that's a girl. Sorry. It's a queen bee, actually. Okay, let me get over myself. This is a mess. Okay, so Kevin Hart, beloved comedian, actor, he does it all, right? He is suing Tasha K, another fellow YouTuber. What is going on with the YouTubers and the lawsuits? Can we stop with that? Please, can we stop with that? He's suing Tasha K basically for extortion. And when you guys listen to these facts, like, this is out of control. Like, we're going into a complaint, which these are allegations and shade. We know it's allegations and shade. It has not been proven to be true yet. So take it all with a grain of salt or put a lot of weight on it. You're the jury. You're the judge and the jury in the Brihive. The allegations are insane. So let me go ahead and pull that up for us. Go away. Uh-oh, Bri, what you got going on here? I'm all stuffy. I can barely talk, y'all. Let me pull it up here. Okay, make it bigger. So, complaint for Kevin Hart. Boom, here we are. We have Kevin Hart and K Hart Enterprises versus Misha Shakes, we're going to call her, Latasha Transrena Kibi, who is Tasha K, who's our fellow YouTuber, and then Kibi Studios LLC. Remember, with the Cardi B lawsuit, her LLC was also sued, and to our knowledge, my girl is not paid yet. Let me know if y'all have some new information on it, but as far as I know, Tasha K has not even paid Cardi B, and now we got Kevin Hart coming after her, and maybe she was trying to extort him allegedly so that she could pay Cardi B. Maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. Let's see what's going on here. We have a complaint for civil extortion, breach of contract, intentional interference with contractual relations, invasion of privacy, public disclosure of private facts, and defamation. So let's go ahead and see what's going on here. We have the parties, Kevin Hart, blah, blah, blah. Shakes worked for Kevin Hart for a little bit. And let's skip all of that because we don't care about that. Okay. During the course of let's go into the facts common to all causes of action. During the course of her employment with Hart and Heartbeat, Shakes, which is Misha, served as Hart's personal assistant. We have another personal assistant person coming up. Remember Vin Diesel case? It was the personal assistant alleging SA. Now we have Kevin Hart suing his personal assistant for talking too much, basically. In said capacity, Shakes was privy to certain confidential business and personal information regarding Hart, his family, friends, and associates, various Heartbeat personnel and employees. at other Hart-affiliated companies. As a result, Shakes appear to be in a position to disseminate or confirm allegations about those persons and entities, regardless of their truth or falsity. So they are saying not only was she running her mouth, but she may or may not have been telling the truth. So we don't even know if these things that she was saying are actually true. Upon Shakes entering into her employment relationship with Heartbeat, Shakes and Heartbeat entered into a certain confidential agreement dated August 8th, 2017. They're calling that one the confidentiality agreement. A true and correct copy of the confidentiality agreement is attached here too. It is actually attached, which shocked me, but we're not going to read it because it's just boring language in there. So the confidentiality agreement defined confidential information to include the following: matters concerning the business operations, business ideas, know-how, techniques, methodologies, and business relationships of any of the protected parties, with protected parties being defined as Heartbeat's owners, its officers, directors, shareholders, clients, friends, families, associates, and contractees, including but not limited to affiliated entities of the owner. Sorry, y'all. My nose is stuffy. The confidentiality agreement further provides that Shake expressly agrees that recipient shall not directly or indirectly, verbally or otherwise publish, disseminate, disclose, or cause to be published, disseminated, or disclose any confidential information to any person, firm, entity, or whatever. So what are they saying? They're saying she breached her contract. She entered into this confidentiality agreement, said that she wasn't going to tell anything, although it was signed like in 2017. Is there a time limit? Maybe we should look at it, but probably not today, to see what the time limit was, because normally there is a time limit on these things, but also with like the private information, there is no time limit on that. So I'm assuming that's what's going on here. So let's see here. On or around October 22nd, 2020, Shakes, on the other hand, and Hart, on behalf of himself, Heartbeat, and all other Hart-affiliated companies, on the other hand, entered into the certain mutual release and non-disclosure agreement dated October 2020 or October 22, 2020. The NDA, a true and correct copy of the NDA, is attached as Exhibit B. The NDA called for Hart to pay Shakes $30,000 per year for a period of 3 years, along with other consideration. And let me just say, $30,000 a year to be Kevin Hart's personal assistant, that's not enough money. That's not enough money for me. I don't know if I'm mad at her. You have to abide by your contracts. You definitely need to abide by your contracts. But I don't know if I'm mad at her for telling, because $30,000 a year, that's not a lot of money to be a celebrity's personal assistant. I don't know like how many hours per week she worked, but I'm assuming she's on call all times. When you're talking about a celebrity's personal assistant, I'm going to assume she was on call at all times. And that just wouldn't be enough for me. It just absolutely would not be enough for me. And then he had her in a 3-year contract, so she couldn't get a raise for 3 years, $30,000 in LA in 2022. How is she paying her bills? That's not enough money. Let me know what y'all think. That is not enough money. I see why she spilled the tea. Not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right, but I can see why she did not think the NDA held any water. So let's see. The NDA defines as confidential information the following: private and confidential information. Information which is not generally known to the public or readily ascertainable by proper means by others, and is subject to reasonable efforts to maintain a secrecy pertaining to any of the following protected parties: Kevin Hart, his affiliated companies, all of those companies, including officers, directors, and executives, and Kevin Hart's family members, past, present, and future, and their affiliated entities, including their officers, directors, and executives. Dang, I can't say nothing about people that's not even in the business. Okay. The NDA further provides that Shakes shall not directly or indirectly disclose, exploit, or disseminate confidential information to any person or entity whatsoever, but not limited to friends, family members, journalists, tabloids, television, which falls within our little realm. Journalists and tabloids, you can consider that to be Tasha K. Also, social media is listed there, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. They didn't specifically include YouTube, and she actually didn't post it onto YouTube. She posted it onto her website, but we'll get into that in just a moment. Or threatened to do so. Shakes therefore had a duty to preserve the confidential information, both as defined in the confidentiality agreement and the NDA as confidential. The NDA included an attorney's fee clause providing as follows: in any proceeding arising out of or related to this agreement or its enforcement, the prevailing party shall be entitled to recover all of his, her, or its reasonable attorney's fees, costs, expenses incurred. So if she loses, Miss Shakes, if you lose, you're going to have to pay attorney's fees. But if Kevin Hart loses, then he's going to have to pay her attorney's fees. I don't think Kevin Hart is going to lose. That's just my initial opinion. Y'all can let me know what y'all are thinking in the chat so far based on the definition that we just read in the confidentiality agreement and the NDA. Let me know if y'all think she's going to be in some trouble. In or around November 2023, Kibi conducted and recorded an interview, with Shakes, wherein Shakes made various statements regarding Hart, his family, and Heartbeat personnel and or employees of other Hart-affiliated entities. Notwithstanding the truth or falsity of such statements, Shakes would only have had knowledge regarding such subjects as a result of her employment with Hart and Heartbeat. Again, still not admitting to whether the statements were true or false, so that he can also claim his defamation, right? Such information necessarily would have constituted confidential information as defined by the NDA, such as information regarding alleged personal relationships affecting the employment status of personnel at Hart-affiliated companies, and subjects such as Hart's interaction with his family members. Spilling all the tea is what my girl is doing. But as we know, Tasha K is known for doing these things. I actually skipped over what they said about her. I may go back up and see read what they just said. She's a commentator that gives salacious and potentially false information. Okay, so we'll just do that. The interview also included false and defamatory statements regarding Hart and certain legal disputes in which he had been involved. That could be proven truth or false. True or false, because if the lawsuit was dismissed or they didn't find certain facts, they will be able to prove that. During the interview, Kibi asked Shakes whether she was a subject to any non-disclosure agreements, which would have prohibited her from disclosing the type of information that was the subject of the interview. Shakes acknowledged that she and plaintiff were, in fact, parties to an NDA, but claimed that the agreement has specific loopholes. Why would you say this on the camera? That she apparently contended would enable her to escape the consequences of her brazenly violating her promises to plaintiffs and the NDA and confidentiality agreement terms. In or around November 2023, an unidentified individual telephoned a Hart representative stating that the individual was affiliated with Kibi, with Tasha K, and Kibi had conducted the interview with Shakes, and that the interview included information or allegations that Kibi's representative claimed would be damaging to Hart's reputation. The individual stated that Kibi would publish the interview unless Hart paid ransom of $250,000. Did they use the word ransom? That's what I would like to know. Was the word ransom used in this conversation? And was she seeking that $250,000 to pay Cardi B? Or was she just gonna use it for herself? Allegedly. Let me stop before I start getting sued like her. Okay. On or around November 17, 2023, Kibi posted a teaser for the interview on YouTube. They gave us the link. I'm not going to click on it because I'm not trying to get striked. Can I even click on it? I probably can. Let me not do it. Okay. Wherever she, along with Shakes, touted that supposedly salacious and damaging nature of the interview, the teaser video clearly was intended as a threat to Hart that the more detailed interview would be published if the ransom was not paid. The teaser included a statement from Kibi at the 2.06 mark of the video, specifically warning that when you don't pay, we have to get money by any means necessary. So she's going to post it and collect her coin from people viewing it, basically, unless Kevin Hart gives her $250,000. That's wild. Hart and his representatives contacted the police and did not pay the ransom that Kibi was demanding. On or about November 22, 2023, Hart's attorney, Dante Mills, wrote to Kibi demanding that she cease and desist all of her legally impermissible actions towards Hart and that she refrain from publishing the interview. A true and correct copy of the cease and desist letter is attached here too. We're going to go over that. In the cease and desist communication, Mr. Mills specifically advised Kibi that Hart had contacted law enforcement about her threats. The cease and desist letter also advised Kibi that Hart and Shakes were parties to an NDA that Shakes participated in the interview was a violation of the NDA, and that Kibi's publication of the interview would constitute intentional interference with contractual relations in addition to various other criminal and tortious conduct that Kibi had engaged in up to that point. My thing is, did he not watch, or maybe he didn't watch it because it wasn't televised, her lawsuit with Cardi B, where she said she knew stuff was false and she was just going to keep saying it? Like, why does he think these threats are going to work? Is she right? Probably not. If this stuff is true, she's probably going to get in trouble. But do we think she cares now? She's going to keep making videos. She still has a platform. Maybe if they can get her on the criminal stuff, then she won't have a platform anymore. But right now, she still has a platform. So on December 22, 2022, Kibi advised Hart's representative that she would, in fact, be publishing the interview. That evening at approximately 6 p.m., Kibi published the interview on her website, specifically at that link, charging viewers $12 per month subscription fee in order to access and view the interview. So, Kevin Hart, did you sign up? Did you or your company sign up so that you could see the video? Probably. I'm sure your friends didn't send it to you. Someone signed up to see the video. So you gave her $12. You gave her $12. She's like, why couldn't you just give me the $250? All right. So we have civil extortion under the penal code. So this is a criminal matter that they're bringing under civil law. The act of contacting an individual and threatening to make public statements about them in order to induce payment of money is extortion pursuant to Penal Code sections 518 and 519. The statement by Kibi's representative that the interview would be published if Hart did not pay constitutes extortion defined by the Penal Code. The thing is, was that person acting in furtherance of Kibi? Can she prove that she don't even know who that person was? Like, they just said someone called. We don't know who the heck is the person on the phone. How are you going to be able to prove that this was, in furtherance? Maybe there's some emails. I don't know. Let's see what else. As a direct and proximate result of the acts described above, plaintiff have been damaged by the amount to be proven at trial. I think the stuff did get out. I can't remember what it was. It like him cheating and stuff? I can't remember what it was. Defendants' extortionate threats were done with oppression, fraud, and malice with intention of depriving plaintiff Hart of his personal liberty, property, and legal rights, and otherwise causing injury, as such actions were despicable conduct that subjected plaintiff to unjust hardship and conscious disregard for plaintiff's rights, such that plaintiff is entitled to recover punitive, exemplary, and in addition to actual and statutory damages against respondent. Okay, then we get into the breach of contract. Plaintiff and Shakes are parties to NDA, which is supported by valid consideration, including but not limited to Hart's payment of $90,000 over 3 years. I would have told too. I'm not teaching y'all to violate contracts, but I would have told too. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that because I don't like being in trouble. But I'm not all the way mad at her. What do you guys think? I'm not mad at her. $30,000 for a personal assistant in LA is ridiculously low. Over 3 years, she's probably mad at that salary. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh at your pain. Is that my... Oh, dang. Where's my button? That was a joke. That's a little joke thing. I don't think I have it. Where is that one? Oh, there it was. Because y'all know Kevin Hart had a comedy special called Laugh at My Pain. So I don't mean to laugh at your pain, Kevin Hart. Yeah, that was my joke. Okay. Plaintiffs Plaintiffs have performed all of the terms, conditions, covenants, and promises required to be performed by them under the NDA, except those terms, conditions, and covenants and promises, if any, which Shakes prevented plaintiff from performing. Y'all, I'm going to jump into the chats in just a minute. Shakes has breached the NDA by disclosing information and or making allegations that would necessarily entail disclosure of information defined by the confidential information under the NDA, statements regarding personnel, employment matters at Heartbeat and or other affiliated companies. What did she say? Like, they're not giving me enough information. They're not giving me enough information. What was said? What did she say? Legal battles? What kind of legal battle? What are we talking about here? What did she say that was so bad that made him want to sue my girl? Why you gotta sue Tasha K? Because she extorted you, right? The direct and proximate result of Shake's material breach of the NDA, they suffered damages without limitation in the principal sum of $90,000 that Hart paid in consideration under the NDA, which was basically like an employment contract, but they call it an NDA. I don't know why they do that, but they do. So yeah. Okay, and then we have intentional interference with a contractual relationship. At the time of the interview, Kibi was aware that plaintiff and Shakes were party to an NDA, with Kibi specifically asking about and Shakes specifically confirming that she and plaintiffs were party to that she and plaintiffs were parties to this agreement. After the interview, Kibi was further advised that plaintiffs and Shakes were party to the NDA, that the subject matter of the interview necessarily constituted confidential information as defined by the NBA, and she basically still went ahead and disclosed the information. He's basically asking for money not less than $90,000. These were intentional actions as accused by Kevin Hart, which I would have to agree. She knew. So they would also be entitled to the punitive damages as well. She told her during the interview, and then they also sent the letter to her. Invasion of privacy, public disclosure of private facts. In the interview, defendants disclosed purported private facts regarding Hart, his family members, Heartbeat employees, or personnel at the Hart affiliated company. The interview was published on defendant's website. Some of the matters Shakes purported to disclose suggested private facts, including but not limited to statements regarding personal relationships affecting employment. What was said, though? Publication of such facts would be offensive and objectionable to a reasonable person. Basically, like what? That he fired people. Then he goes on to say that it was intentional again. And then we have defamation. During the interview, Shakes made a number of statements regarding plaintiff Hart. Those statements were published on Kibi's website. Shakes made statements during the interview. And the defamation, sorry, that was bad. I was stuttering. The defamation was only to Shakes, not to Tasha K. Tasha K is being accused of the tortious interference and things like that, and the extortion. She's not being accused of the actual defamation. I wonder if she was going to give the $2,050 or $250,000 to Shakes, because Kevin Hart did not fairly pay her, in my opinion. I'm not mad. I'm not all the way mad. She might have violated some laws, but I'm not all the way mad at her. Okay. So such statements were defamatory and not privilege. Such statements had a natural tendency to injure Hart. Shakes' action in publishing defamatory statements regarding Hart were done with oppression, fraud, and malice, with the intention of depriving Hart of his personal liberty, property, legal rights, and otherwise causing injury. And such actions were despicable conduct that they want the punitive damages. Okay, so the first cause of action, they want general damages, punitive damages, and compensatory damages. Again, compensatory damages and attorney's fees. They want compensatory damages and punitive damages, compensatory and punitive. They want money, okay? And then anything else that the court deems just and proper. I wanted to cover the actual letter to see what the attorney said, and maybe I'll look over this when we're not on the live stream and talk about it on the next live stream if anything good comes out of it. This is a thick letter. Okay. We have to Tasha K. This office represents Kevin Hart. I am writing regarding your recent and ongoing violations of civil and criminal law and to demand that you immediately cease and desist all such activities. Y'all, this is the letter that Kevin Hart's attorney wrote to Tasha K telling her to stop before they have to sue her, and she did not stop. You have already engaged in criminal conduct and tortious act that would entitle Mr. Hart to monetary damages against you should he elect to commence civil litigation regarding this matter. To the extent that you do not cease and desist now, your liability for such monetary damages will increase, as will your exposure to criminal penalties. That was a good first paragraph. I like that. As you are no doubt aware, recently someone on Mr. Hart's team was contacted by an unknown individual who indicated that he was affiliated with you and or your blogs. Oh, so it was a guy. The individual working at your direction, so they're basically putting that liability on her. There's vicarious liability there because that person worked for her. But if they don't know who the guy is, how are they going to prove that that person worked for her? So that will be interesting. It could be just some scammer trying to get money out of Kevin Hart. The individual working at your direction stated you would publish a story on social media that you contend would be damaging to Mr. Hart's reputation unless Mr. Hart pays $250,000. This, of course, constitutes extortion under the penal code and gives rise to both criminal and civil liability against you and anyone involved in your efforts to extort Mr. Hart. California extortion laws prohibits any attempt to obtain consideration from another through the wrongful use of force or fear. Your effort to extract payment from Mr. Hart by threatening exposure of information supposedly harmful to him is a textbook example. We have thus contacted the police and will be following up with law enforcement as we deem appropriate. We understand the story to be an interview with Mr. Hart's former assistant, Misha Shakes, that supposedly includes scandalous assertions against him. We note that Ms. Shakes has a documented history with law enforcement in matters involving other high-profile individuals. So basically, this lady has done this before, according to this letter. Allegations, remember. In advance of your threatened publication of the story, you posted a teaser with Ms. Shakes on your YouTube, which clearly was intended to which clearly was intended as a threat, sending a message to Mr. Hart's team that the more detailed story would be published if and only if the ransom, or would not be published if and only if the ransom is paid. Your statement at approximately 2-minute and 6-second mark of the teaser video that when you don't pay, we have to get money by any means necessary is particularly darning and leaves no ambiguity that criminal extortion was your intent. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Kimmy pulled the video for me. Let me see if we can. Okay. It's pretty short, so I might pull it up for y'all. Let's see here. Where are we at? Okay. In addition to liability arising from such criminal conduct, the threatened activity would constitute a violation of a non-disclosure agreement between Mr. Hart and Ms. Shakes. That certainly mutual release and non-disclosure agreement dated October 2022 or 2022. October 22, 2020, between those individuals. While we do not presently know the specifics of the story or of Ms. Shakes' assertions, the subject matter of the story to which the YouTube teaser alludes would necessarily derive from information Ms. Shakes gained while in Mr. Hart's employ, and thus fall squarely within the NDA's definition of the confidential information. Any such disclosure from Ms. Shakes in connection with the story therefore constitutes a clear violation of the NDA terms. To the extent that you were to facilitate such a breach of the NDA by publishing the story, you would be subject to civil liability for intentional interference with the contractual relations, as well as aiding and abetting Ms. Shakes and tortious conduct against Mr. Hart, in addition to direct liability. We are aware of the facts that you have an established history of posting defamatory and otherwise improper content regarding celebrities and other high-profile individuals. For instance, most recently, you were found liable for civil damages exceeding $3 million in a defamation lawsuit by the musician Cardi B, as if she didn't know she was sued. Like, why did you need to say that? You and your accomplices' actions with respect to Mr. Hart are more of the same, in addition to being flatly criminal as set forth above. Your adjudicated history of such misconduct is further evidence of your intent in this case, leaving no doubt as to your liability here. I don't really agree with that. You can't say you did this before, so you're definitely doing it now. I don't agree with that. We also are aware that you have recently filed for bankruptcy protection because she doesn't want to pay Cardi B $4 million. And you're telling me she's trying to extort Kevin Hart for $250? That's wild. You should be advised that under bankruptcy code, debt incurred as a result of the debt for the debtor's willful and malicious injury to a creditor. Here, Mr. Hart is not subject to discharge. You will thus not be able to evade any liability for monetary damages to Mr. Hart that you incur as a result of the misconduct described herein, which would not constitute dischargeable pre-petition debt in any event. In light of the foregoing issues, we demand that you immediately cease and desist all activity and public statements relating to the story and refrain from any publication or threatened release of the story. Please have your attorneys contact me to discuss the matter further. We note that the foregoing is not an exhaustive recitation of applicable facts and law relevant to this matter, and none of the above constitutes waiver of any of Mr. Hart's rights or remedies with respect thereto. So they are telling you this, but this doesn't mean that I basically covered every single violation that you possibly did. So let me go ahead and unpresent and then reshare the screen so that we can see the video. Share audio, share tab or screen instead. Share audio. This one. Okay. So this is basically the little part that they're talking about. So I'm going to share that.
Hey, y'all, listen. Hey, come on in here.
Can y'all hear the video? Let me know. I'm just waiting for the chat to let me know if y'all can hear. Okay, Kimmy said there's a yes, so let me go back. All right, we're good.
Hey, y'all, listen. Hey, come on in here. Come on. Every time I get drunk, right, or tipsy, my eyes be like this. I'm like, hey. Look, every time I was just telling her, I'm waiting on y'all to get in here. Every time I get to gave me a platform. But, fortunately, I have nobody over there at Heartbeat is paying my salary, okay? And hers either. Nope. And when you don't pay, we have to get money by any means necessary. So the assistants are assisting.
What?
Okay? They are assisting us in all.
What is she talking about? Not you getting on the live stream to talk about, oh, I'm lit. And then, ain't no way. Hey, y'all, look, I'm ranking. I guess because it's my video, but I'm ranking right here. Look at me. I don't know if that video, her talking about the money is necessarily showing the extortion. What do y'all think so far? I don't know. I'm going to rewind it to get into the part of you need to pay whatever she just said. I don't know if it's given everything that Kevin Hart is trying to assert in the actual lawsuit. So let me go back. But she is wild for what she's saying.
Okay. And hers either. Nope. And when you don't pay, we have to get money by any means necessary. So the assistants are assisting. Okay, they are assisting us in all types of wine, hors d'oeuvres, things like that. Okay, so we've been here for 2 months. I'm sorry. Look, y'all, I'm reading 2 months. We've been here for 2 hours, unwinding every damn thing down there at the Heartbeat Studio. And let me tell you, your heart gonna motherfucking drop, bitch.
Oh, okay, all right. So she's saying there's some info. I gotta watch that off stream, y'all. So maybe, I guess she is. I rewatched it and she said, if you don't pay, we gonna get our money by any means necessary. But she also said it after saying he's not paying her salary. So basically this girl thinks that she can talk now because she's no longer being paid by him. And I'm pretty sure I know exactly what paragraph she's talking about. I'm not gonna go into it right now. As far as the non-disclosure goes, because I haven't actually read the non-disclosure before getting on the live stream, but it's a pretty boilerplate provision that goes into these NDAs and these confidentiality agreements. So I'm going to take a peek at it, and then maybe we'll cover it on the next live stream, or maybe I'll do like a short video and cover it. But she is for sure wild. And I know y'all got comments coming in. We're going to jump into that in just a moment. So let me go ahead and swoop. Buzz on by with our little pet bee. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into our comments regarding the case. There are some things about Mr. Beast, so I'm going to cover those first, and then we'll go ahead and get into y'all's comments about Kevin Hart. So let's see, we have Irene Calexico saying, I've had Mr. Beast burgers and really like them, but didn't know they came from a ghost kitchen till last year. And I think some of them, I guess most of it was ghost kitchen. He did like one opening as far as where he was actually serving the burgers. And then after that, they did like the ghost kitchen thing. So hopefully yours didn't come from 7-Eleven. Sakatoa, hello, welcome into the live stream, saying IDK Tasha K has pulled some ish, so maybe not so far fetched. Let me tell you, this is a complaint. It's allegations and shade. There was not too much shade in this. I wish he would have gave more detail. But the thing is, he doesn't want to put on blast the things that she was saying about him because it probably makes him look bad. So I understand why they didn't say what she said or what Shake said about him. But anywho, I don't put it past her either. I don't. I really don't. So don't think I'm on her side, but I'm not that mad at the assistant. I just can't get over that. So Katoa says, all I know is Cardi B was forgiving her, but then pulled all the Will Smith stuff and she took back that forgiveness. I think I missed her saying the Will Smith stuff. I think I missed that. Cardoba82 says, maybe Tasha K was trying to get money from Kevin Hart to pay Cardi B. That's what I said. Or to run away so she didn't have to pay Cardi B. Speculation. Tanya D says, Tasha K is probably doing pretty well with her website. She could be paying Cardi if she wants to. I agree. I would not be surprised if that was accurate, Tanya. I'm not going to say it's true, but I would not be surprised if it was accurate. Kimmy Lockett says, 30,000. How in the heck Kevin Hart's wrong for that? As much money as Kevin Hart is making, and you got the nerve to pay your assistant, your personal assistant, $30,000. What was her work schedule? Was she only working like 4 hours a week? That might be acceptable. But if she's working like full time running around for you, absolutely ridiculous. Because you can't even really have another job when you're working for someone like that. Irene Calexico says that's not a livable wage in my opinion, $30K a year. And we're talking about in LA. Like, we're not just talking about, let me double check the complaint. I'm pretty sure they said that she lives in LA. And there's no way she's got to have like 4 or 5 roommates in the studio at that point in LA. Let me see here. Where are the people? Okay. Plaintiff Shakes. She is doing business in Los Angeles County, California, beginning in August of 2017. So she's living in LA and only being paid $30,000. It's ridiculous. So Katoa says, I need to see the rates on that contract. He said 30,000. I don't think he was wrong. Let me see. Let me see the rates. Which one did they say it was in the NDA or in the confidentiality agreement? I think they said it was in the NDA. I'm looking for, let me actually share the screen with y'all. Share screen. We want this one. Share it. I can't believe she got on live stream and said that, y'all. Okay. Yeah, it's right here. 30,000. Let me get my little highlighter. 30,000 is what it says. Shakes for a period of 36 months. A severance payment of $30,000 per year for a period of 3 years, or other good valuable consideration, including but not limited to the mutual release of claims, the receipt of sufficiency of which are hereby acknowledged. Let's see. The parties agree as follows. In consideration for Hart arranging to provide health insurance coverage to Shake for a period... What? You were not even going to give her health insurance? For a parties agree as follows. In consideration for Hart arranging to provide health insurance coverage to Shakes for a period of 3 years, a severance payment of $30,000 per year for a period of 3 years, and other good valuable consideration, including but not limited to the mutual release of claims, the receipt and sufficiency of which hereby is acknowledged. Mutual release and non-disclosure. Okay, so she agreed to do this. So this is basically her employment contract. But so he gave her health insurance and what happened to this mandatory confidential arbitration? Why are we in court? You said that you had to do arbitration. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to go over this, y'all. There's a big old paragraph saying that you have to do arbitration. By agreeing to arbitration, the parties are giving up any rights they may have to a trial by a judge or jury regarding matters required to be arbitrated. The parties understand, acknowledge, and agree that there is no right to an appeal or a review of the arbitrator. I'll have to look at it and see which disputes are subject to arbitration. But yeah, as we know, we've covered on this channel before that the arbitration clauses aren't really followed a lot of times. So yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay. Cardoba82 says 30K is not enough to be anybody's assistant, right? I would agree with that. Irene Calexico says do better, Kevin Hart. Not us getting mad at Kevin Hart on the live stream. Chantel says Cardi recently filed a motion requesting info on Tasha K's assets. Well, they're going to find this lawsuit. She is filing bankruptcy. I know that much, but I'm not mad at Cardi B. Girl, get your money because she's playing in your face at this point. And then now she's trying to play in Kevin Hart's face. Not that I'm a fan of him. He's not even paying his workers well, in my opinion. But yeah, these people are crazy. Irene Calexico says, agree, but not carrying water for anyone for 30K. Not even sparkling water? Cheryl Z says, I'm guessing it was a part-time or something. Otherwise, why the heck would she even sign that 3-year contract? And she got health insurance. Maybe that health insurance was very expensive. We are in California. So yeah, that is trash. $30,000 in health insurance is wild. Wild. You have to be paying her rent. Like there's no way I'm agreeing to $30,000 in LA, especially. Kimmy Locker says, I sure hope so, Cheryl C. It makes absolutely no sense otherwise. Other than wanting to work for a celebrity, that's the only other way I can justify it at this point. Sakatoa says to Cheryl C., I'm thinking it was a part-time too. I don't know how it would be part-time. Did he have multiple personal assistants? I don't know. But in my opinion, celebrities be cheap because they said Kim Kardashian wasn't paying her maids either. So, I'll be quiet, but I'm not working for them, but I heard they do not pay well. Sokotoa says we need to see the attached contract. We can go through it. I want to look over it first, but most of it is going to be, that's going to be the most of the actual money part of it. Tiny D says, I think it was only for his personal affairs, not his business dealings. So I guess that could be considered part-time. We need her clocking hours. We need her clocking hours, y'all. Kimmy Locker says the NDA was an arbitration clause, though, so I don't understand how Hart could include Shakes in a lawsuit. That's what I want to go through it a little bit more because I just found it too, Kimmy. I didn't see your comment earlier. Sometimes it doesn't include all of the disputes. Remember, like we covered in the Diddy Tequila lawsuit. But I just don't. I guess we could go because we still have to get to Paula Abdul. How far? We're only an hour in. I guess we can look at it because Paula Abdul is not that long. That case is not that long. And then the Jodi Hildebrandt is not going to be that long either. So let's actually go to it. Here we go. Let's make it bigger so the peeps can see. Oh gosh, that covered my whole face. What the heck? This one? Okay, there we go. Okay, mandatory confidential binding arbitration of disputes. The parties agree that the exclusive manner. Oh, nope, you're right. I thought it was only going to talk about certain disputes, but let's see here. Where were we at? The parties agree that the exclusive manner of resolving any and all future disputes between them of any kind or nature whatsoever, including but not limited to disputes regarding validity, interpretation, enforcement, and claimed breach of this agreement. So what are we talking about? We're talking about enforcement and claimed breach of the agreement shall be solely by mandatory binding confidential arbitration. Arbitration shall be administered by JAMS under the JAMS comprehensive arbitration rules, blah, 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 this website in California and Los Angeles, selected by mutual agreement. The parties have the right to conduct discovery in accordance with the California Code of Civil Procedure, and discovery requests and results shall be deemed confidential information. Whether a dispute is subject to arbitration and issues regarding jurisdiction and enforceability of this agreement shall be determined solely by the arbitrator, not the court. So is this going to get kicked out of court? Don't know. The arbitrator may impose any and all legal and equitable remedies that would be available to any party before any governmental dispute resolution forum or court of competent jurisdiction. Arbitration will not apply to any claims necessarily excluded by law. Arbitration will not apply to any claims necessarily excluded by law? What does that mean? What does that mean? The prevailing party shall be entitled to recover all reasonable attorney's fees, costs, expenses incurred to the greatest extent permitted by law. Any papers required to be delivered or served in connection with arbitration may be sent via this agreement notice provision. The arbitrator shall issue a written opinion containing his or her factual legal reasoning. If the prevailing party files a petition to confirm the arbitration's award and or any party seeks to vacate an award, any documents filed with any court containing confidential information shall be filed under the greatest seal to the greatest extent permitted by law in order to maintain confidentiality of the confidential information. And so that kind of explains why he's not telling us what was said. But if you watch the interview, should we pay for the subscription to watch the interview? We can do a private member stream. We can do a private member stream and watch it if she still has it up on TashaKLive.com. Oh my gosh. By agreeing to arbitration, the parties are giving up any rights they may have to a trial by judge or jury regarding matters required to be arbitrated. The parties understand, acknowledge, and agree that there is no right to an appeal or review of the arbitrator's award as it would be by a judge or jury's decision. I don't know what that sentence means, y'all. Arbitration will not apply to any claims necessarily excluded by law. What does that mean? Like for things you can't sue for, then you can't do arbitration for things you can't sue for. But as we talked about in the Diddy Tequila case, a lot of times these mandatory confidential binding arbitration clauses are not enforceable. I really cannot tell you guys if this is going to go through. And then we have the liquidated damages clause. That's pretty standard. Kimmy pointed out to me in the background. $50,000 is, he's basically saying that it should not exceed, or let me see, Shake's actual or threatened breach of this agreement shall cause Hart substantial damages and injury, the precise amount of which would be extremely difficult or impracticable to determine even after the parties have made reasonable attempt to do so. Shake therefore agrees that in addition to Hart's other remedies, Shakes will be obligated to pay Hart a sum of $50,000 as a reasonable and fair amount of liquidated damages to compensate Hart for a loss or damage resulting from each and actual threatened breach. The parties agree that this sum bears a reasonable and proximate relationship to the actual damages Hart will suffer for each and actual threatened breach. Oh, so each threat that she would have to pay $50,000 plus this $90,000 that he's asking for, plus punitive damages if necessary. So basically, like if the court says, okay, you were only damaged not $90,000, but only $10,000 in this liquidated damages clause, he would still get that additional $50,000. Or he would just get one or the other. I don't know really how it applies. So I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I don't really know how it applies. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to get one or the other, but in this paragraph, it sounds like you get that and something else. But I don't do like civil law. I do civil law in the realm of family law, but not in like civil disputes. Okay, if that makes sense. All right. So we covered that. Cheryl C says, I live in Austin and you can get personal assistant position here for around $80K. No benefits most of the time, but not bad for early to mid 20 something who are still on their parents' insurance. I agree with that. Like his assistant should be getting paid way more than $30,000. Tanya D says, please take a moment to hit the like and subscribe button if you have not already to help the channel. Yes, of course. Thank you for the reminder. If you guys haven't, please do hit the like button. Let's see where we're at. We're at 38 likes, so we're doing pretty good. Let's see if we can hit 50 likes this live stream. So if you haven't hit the like button, please do go ahead and hit it. Help us out in the algorithm. We had a lot of friends in here today. Cheryl C says, I've been an executive assistant for more years than I want to admit. When I sign an NDA, I stand by it. In my opinion, no one should be trusting Tasha K with any information or access to information. I agree with you. Trust and shakes, I mean. Okay, well, I feel like she worked for them, so they had to kind of trust her with it. But at the same, I would be more on like Shake shouldn't be telling Tasha K, but she wants some money, so she's telling her. Upside Down says, thank you for the info, Cheryl. $80K would come in handy for people with kids. Throw in bennies. Not like they're not making a mint. Healthcare is right, not a privilege they use to create anxiety. Yes, especially in California, you're gonna have to have that, or I guess not in California, just I think it's a federal law, by 26. So he's putting that on she doesn't get any other benefits, just health insurance and $30,000, which is ridiculous, right? Kimmy Locker says, Hart did provide health insurance, which is good, but also makes me think it was more than part-time. I would agree with that. That does sound more than part-time. Upside Down says, I was forced to sign an NDA and a non-compete when I worked for a beast who trashed employees. Odd how it's a one-way deal. It is a one-way deal because they're trying to protect themselves. They're not going to try to protect you. As we see, they said arbitration, and then they wanted to sue, and now we're in the court, right? Tiny D says, from my understanding, she was spilling all of the tea about his affairs and quite a few other shady dealings. That's what I thought it was, but I don't really pay attention to Tasha K like that to have been diving deep into it. I do remember there being something about someone trying to extort him, but for whatever reason, I don't remember it being Tasha K. And I knew it was like about affairs and things like that too. So maybe we gotta watch it. Do we want to give... Can we spare $12 to help Tasha K pay her debts? No, let's not do that. Upside Down says, Tanya, sounds like she had enough. It does sound like that. $30,000 a year. I would have enough too. Cheryl C says, salaries could also include housing, etc. That is something I ran into while job hunting. Living on site was not an option for me, but $30K plus free housing would be very good for some. That's what it said. The health insurance, the $30,000 a year for 3 years, and then other valuable considerations. So I'm like, maybe it does include housing. That's the only way I would probably accept the job. Upside Down says, yes, Cheryl, housing is big. Healthcare and student loans would eat up that $30K. Yeah, that is true. Kimmy Locker says, agreed with Cheryl C. The NDA only mentioned insurance, $30K a year, and other good and valuable consideration, though I'm not sure it was provided in this case. Yeah, I feel like they would have made it clear if it was, but that's something that almost seems necessary in this case with living in LA especially. Cardova82 says, that's how we know that the person who called Kevin was doing it on her behalf. Which part of it? I know I just be talking. I forget what's going on. Upside Down says, to be honest, no one should need to worry about going without. The wealthiest country has the most incarcerated and homeless population on the planet. Go figure. And here we are in this case, right? Jazzy G says, I missed a lot of the discussion, but Kevin Hart is fishy to me. I don't really trust him that much either. But and especially because he was only paying the girl $30,000. I'm just saying, is she right? No. Am I mad at her? No. It's not the best legal analysis, but it is what it is. The Kimmy Locker says, I'm confused by the wording of severance pay. Yeah, that was a little strange. I agree with you there. Of $30,000 a year rather than salary of $30,000 a year. Could that imply severance after she stops working for him in exchange for continued silence? It could refer to that. I thought that was odd wording as well. And I'm like, is this him ending? Oh, yeah. Okay, I think this is ending. I think you did point something out. So I think it is ending because it's a mutual release and non-disclosure agreement, which makes me believe this is like the end of her working for him. And she's probably thinking that she only has to be quiet for 3 years, even though at this point it wouldn't have been 3 years yet. But I would have to look into it a little because sometimes they do it at the end. I just assumed that it was like an employment contract. So I'll have to look into it a little bit more to see if this was like the end of her employment. I'm leaning more towards this was the end of her employment and they basically told her be quiet when she leaves. Kimmy Locker says, especially since in consideration for the NDA, can something be considered consideration in a contract of law if a party is already receiving from something else like employment? I'm thinking you're right on the first one that it's her leaving and they're telling her to basically be quiet. Because remember, she did already sign a confidentiality. So man, I didn't talk about. Well, I'm still talking about him. Because she did already sign the confidentiality agreement, which maybe is what she signed in the beginning. But this one doesn't tell us how much she would be getting paid. So I'm thinking you're right, Kimmy, in that was her leaving and she had to be quiet to keep abiding by the NDA. Because I'm pretty sure this one is going to have something in it. And can I type in find? Control find the. Okay, it does. Okay. No, let's see. Yeah, I was thinking that the other one would have said year, like 1 year she has to be quiet in the confidentiality agreement, but I don't have time to go through it all right now, so we're going to pause on that. Okay, that makes sense. Small says, my bad, I'm a bit behind, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Hart paid her only $30,000 a year, no benefits for full-time work. They'll call part-time or PRN or on call. It's BS typically. That's what I was saying. I'm like, if you're an assistant for a celebrity, they're probably calling you all times of that middle of the night and all of the things. That's what I would just assume, but I could be wrong. Small says, you'll do it if you really want to work in the industry and they're trying to work your way up. I was expected to work full-time for free and cover random expenses of the wealthy / celeb clients. I believe it. I don't think you are telling no lies. I believe it. Kimmy Locker says, that's cute. It's cute. I'm not doing it. Smile says, those were not the terms I agreed to, but those ended up being the terms I was expected to be okay with after I was already doing the gig. F out of here. Celebs take advantage of Celebs take advantage of their celebrity all the time. I believe that they get free stuff more than us people that need some help get free stuff. So no, I believe it. I believe it. They switch up on you. Small says someone will always say yes. Those people are usually from privileged backgrounds or willing to do desperate things others can't and won't. Yeah. Makes sense. And it definitely makes sense to be in the industry as well. Kimmy Locker says social capital is exploited in the worst ways. It's gross. Agreed. Kimmy Locker says, I'd imagine claims barred from arbitration by law refers to stuff like, oh, okay, that makes sense. SA, assault, battery, etc. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I would probably agree with that. Upside Down says NDA cover for Crimson Creeps signed that once, won't sign one unless they sign mine. Makes sense, because it is a one-way street, right? Small says, I'm surprised she got health insurance. To be honest, she was 100% working full-time hours, regardless of what they called it, guaranteed. I just don't see how a personal assistant for a celebrity could be part-time, unless they have multiple personal assistants, but I still will have a hard time believing that. Small says, only celeb assistants who work part-time are ones who work for non-A-listers or celebs who get assistance by other means, like in a project, film, TV show, contract for a role they're doing. I believe that. Kimmy Locker says she specifically agrees not to give any interviews, so I don't know what loophole she could have unless he didn't pay, so she didn't receive the consideration and considers the contract null and void. And the thing about it is that the 3 years wasn't up, so I don't know how the contract could have been considered. Oh, maybe it was up. It was 2020, huh? Because I kept confusing the 2022 but they released the interview in 2022, right? So it wouldn't have been 3 years yet for him to pay. Interesting stuff. We'll have to see when the response comes out, right? Kimmy Locker says the first confidentiality agreement says her non-disclosure obligations shall continue indefinitely, though. Okay, I thought it would say 1 year, but you found the paragraph. The indefinitely. So even if one agreement has a loophole, I doubt they both do. I don't think there is a loophole. The girl is just probably not that smart. Upside Down says, these peeps are my client base. If they want privacy, quit the game. It is what it is. It is what it is. Okay, we made it through Kevin Hart. Let's go ahead and jump into Paula Abdul. All right, here we go. We got 2 more cases, actually. I thought we only had 1 more case. And I was like, oh, yeah, we can go through it. I just missed my whole mouth. That's bad. Live streaming, right? Okay, so we got Paula Abdul suing for SA against one of the executives of American Idol / Dancing with the Stars. This one is actually not too long, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. For those of you who do not know who Paula Abdul is, I barely know who she is, but she was like a host on American Idol. I think she did choreography. I think she was a dancer. She said something about winning a Grammy, but I don't know her as a singer. Let me know if y'all know in the chat more about Paula Abdul. I'm not a fan of her. So let's go ahead and jump right into the case, get through it. We're probably going to skip the nature of the case because it's like literally almost the same as the facts of the case. But the facts of the case give a little bit more detail. So let's go ahead and jump right into the case. We got Paula Abdul suing for SA. Paula Abdul versus Nigel Lythgoe. I hope I'm saying that right. 19 Entertainment, Fremantle Media, North America Inc., American Idol Productions, Dance Nation Productions, and she's suing for SA and battery, S harassment, gender violence, and negligence. Remember, she's bringing it under the case, or not under the case, under the statute that allows for people to bring SA claims no matter how long ago that they happened. So let's go ahead and jump into the actual facts of the complaint, since it's the same as the nature of the case. Okay, In or about early 2001, Abdul's business manager was approached by Fox about an opportunity for Abdul to appear as a judge on a soon-to-air American version of the British television singing competition show Pop Idol. At the time she was approached by Fox, Abdul was coming out of a 6-year hiatus from the entertainment industry due to injuries she had sustained in an accident, and thus she was intrigued by the opportunity. Shortly thereafter, Abdul met with executives and producers for the show. During the meeting, Abdul was verbally insulted and belittled by Lythgoe, one of the executive producers on the show, who told she was a has-been. Here we go, y'all. We have another industry case. He told her that she was a has-been celebrity and probably wouldn't be known by the show's contestants. Though other show producers and executives attempted to downplay Lythgoe's comments and cajole Abdul, what's that mean? Cajole. I don't know what that means. Abdul, that she was exactly what they are looking for. Abdul left the meeting with grave reservations about appearing on the show and informed her representatives about such concerns. Ultimately, he's calling her a has-been, but she's like, I'm going to work there anyway. Ultimately, however, Abdul and her representatives put Lythgoe's comments aside, hoping his conduct was a one-time event, and decided to take a chance on the show. So they're painting him in a pretty bad light to start off with. In or around April 2022, Abdul, through her loan out company, Paula Abdul Inc., entered into a contract. She has a loan out company to loan herself out. That sounds a bit strange. Entered into a contract with Idol Productions, then a subsidiary of Fremantle, to appear as a judge on the first season of the then titled series American Idol: The Search for a Superstar. Abdul's participation in American Idol ended up being a huge commercial success. During her tenure on the show, which spanned 8 seasons from 2002 to 2009, viewership and ratings of the show skyrocketed, hitting their peak between seasons 5 and 8. Tellingly, ratings and viewership began to sink almost immediately following Abdul's departure from the show. So she's like, I'm the one that made the show pop. Okay. Despite Abdul's contribution to the commercial success of American Idol, the relationship between her and the show's producers were strained from the start. Indeed, Lythgoe's assault and harassment of Abdul turned out not to be limited to her initial meeting. Throughout her tenure on American Idol, Abdul not only was discriminated against in terms of compensation and benefits as compared to one of the show's male judges and hosts, making nearly pennies to the dollar of what one of her male counterparts was making, but she was the target of constant taunts, bullying, humiliation, and harassment from Lythgoe and other executive agents, employees, and other representatives of the show's producers, 19 Entertainment and Fremantle. For example, show producers often edited or misleadingly displayed footage of Abdul that made her appear to television audiences as if she were inept, which was not true. Shockingly, defendants subjected Abdul to such discrimination and harassment, all while knowing she was undergoing multiple spinal surgeries during her tenure on the show. Let me see. Where was I at? Okay. The impetus of much of the harassment lobbied against Abdul was Lythgoe, who subjected Abdul not just to the verbal harassment and bullying, but also to SA. During one of the American Idol's initial seasons, while on the road for the show's regional auditions, Lythgoe SA'd Abdul. One evening following the day's audition, Lythgoe and Abdul entered the elevator of the hotel where they were staying. Upon entering the elevator, Lythgoe shoved Abdul against the wall, then grabbed her genitals and boobs and began shoving his tongue down her throat. Abdul attempted to push Lythgoe away from her when the doors of the elevator for the floor opened. Abdul ran out of the elevator and to her hotel room. Abdul quickly called one of her representatives in tears to inform them of the assault. So for those of you who haven't heard the case before, what do you think so far about the claims? They're very, in my opinion, vague so far, but I don't know. I don't know how I really feel about it. I don't know the guy, so I can't really judge him that hard. And they're like bullying her, according to her. I don't know how I feel about the claim so far. Let me go ahead and finish it. And I'm sorry, I'm struggling to read this right now, y'all. My sickness is attacking me at this point. So let's get through it. At the same time the assault occurred and throughout her entire tenure on American Idol, Lythgoe was not just an executive producer of the show, but also was the president of the television division of one of the show's production companies, 19 Entertainment. As such, Lythgoe had the ability to terminate Abdul's participation on American Idol, fearing that Lythgoe would so retaliate against her if she were to say anything. Abdul ultimately decided not to take action and stay silent. Further, Abdul's contract with Idol Productions prohibited her from publicly discussing or disclosing any sensitive and material information relating to American Idol or the show's producers' business affairs, show participants, plans, personnel, and or operations. As y'all can see, we are in another non-disclosure agreement that has boilerplate language that basically says you can't talk about anything that relates to American Idol that people could perceive to be true, even if you're basically not telling the truth. You basically can only talk about us in a positive light, is what these non-disclosure agreements are saying. Okay. The assault and harassment Abdul experienced from Lythgoe were not limited to her time on American Idol. So she's no longer working on American Idol. And what does she do? She gets on another show with these people. So let's go on. In or about 2014, Abdul was approached by Fox to appear as a judge on the hit dance competition show, So You Think You Can Dance. Having had a great experience being a judge for a season of the Australian version of the show, Abdul accepted in January 2015, entered into a contract through her loan-out company with Dance Nation to appear as a judge on season 12 of So You Think You Can Dance. On information and belief, Dance Nation was a subsidiary of 19 Entertainment, one of the show's production companies. At or around the time Abdul was working for So You Think You Can Dance, Lythgoe invited her to a dinner at his home to discuss other opportunities for the two to work together. Why would you go to his house? My guy is bullying you, humiliating you. He assaulted you in the elevator. Why would you go to his house by yourself? Not blaming you, but maybe like a public dinner would have prevented some further interaction. I don't know. And maybe because it's so far apart, maybe she forgot about the initial thing. I don't know. She says, believing this is a professional invitation, Abdul accepted. Toward the end of the evening, Lythgoe forced himself on top of Abdul. It's raining pretty hard. Oh my gosh. He forced himself on top of Abdul while she was seated on his couch and attempted to kiss her while proclaiming that the two would make an excellent power couple. What is this guy, like a kindergartner? He bullies her to show her that he likes her? Like, what is going on here? Abdul pushed Lythgoe off her, explaining that she was not interested in his advances, and immediately left. As with the earlier incident, Abdul feared she would be retaliated against if she spoke out about the incident. At the time, Lythgoe was an executive producer for So You Think You Can Dance and also president of the television division of 19 Entertainment. Just as with American Idol, Lythgoe had the ability to remove Abdul from So You Think You Can Dance. Further, Abdul's contract with Dance Nation prohibited her from publicly discussing or disclosing information concerning the host, judges, or the production team. Basically, another NDA like we just talked about. Abdul was not the only one subjected to Lythgoe's abuse. In April 2015, while filming for a So You Think You Can Dance in Las Vegas, Abdul witnessed Lythgoe S.A., one of her assistants, April. One evening, Lythgoe approached Abdul and April from behind, pressed himself up against April, and began to grope her. April did not consent. I'm wondering if April is going to be a witness in the lawsuit if this goes to trial. Ultimately, Abdul spent just 2 seasons on So You Think He Can Dance, leaving the show after its 13th season in the summer of 2016. She has not worked with Lythgoe since. Lythgoe knew and was aware that his treatment of Abdul was inappropriate and even criminal. Indeed, at one point, Lythgoe called Abdul and taunted her that they should celebrate because it has been 7 years and the statute of limitations has run. That is wild. Oh my gosh, that is wild. I could be on her side on that one. Lythgoe clearly knew that his assaults of Abdul were not just wrong, but that he held the power to keep her silent. On information and belief, defendants were aware of Lythgoe's indecent conduct. Indeed, in or about 2008, Mad TV, a production of Fox, aired a parody of So You Think You Can Dance, in which Lythgoe was openly portrayed as being not just crass, but engaging in SH behavior towards show contestants. Yet, despite it being well known that Lythgoe's behavior was inappropriate, defendants did nothing to stop or prevent it, either on screen or behind the scenes. So, sounds like this is just what he does. I definitely understand her bringing the complaint. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the comments and see what y'all think about it so far. And then also to get some background on who Paula Abdul is. Because I know y'all making some comments in there. Upside Down says, these peeps are my client base. Oh, I think I already covered that one. Small says, OMG, bunch of children in the live chat. Yes. Tiny says, my sweet baby Bree. Let me know more about Paula Abdul. AK Robbie says, oh my Lord, you've heard her music before, I'm sure of it. Probably. I just don't know her as an artist. Small says, this rundown of PA's resume career is killing my old age. Oh, I'm missing all of them. Upside Down says, Abdul was a great choreographer and performer. Sadly, she has a drinking problem, and no doubt that will be an influence on the case. Oh, that's new information for me. Interesting. Tiny D says she was a Lakers girl, choreographed for Janet Jackson, and had a couple of pop singles. I'm going to have to look it up. I know she was a dancer, but I didn't know about the singing part. Kimmy Lockett says, loan out companies are standard in the entertainment industry. I know. It just sounds funny. It's probably not funny. It just sounds funny because it's like, oh, I'm loaning myself out. Small says, I forever have to put respect on Auntie Paula's name due to her work with Janet. If she has no other credit, Janet credits her for teaching her to dance icon. But that's good. Okay, Paula. AK Robbie says, oh, you guys are... Am I even saying it right? Cajole, persuade someone to do something with coaxing or flattery. Makes sense. Chantel says Paula was a tap dancer who became the Jacksons' tour choreographer and later became Janet Jackson's choreographer. She released some albums with pretty good pop songs. She's kind of like J-Lo. That makes sense. That makes sense. Sterling Stiller with RSD says she choreographed for Janet Jackson and had several hit albums, Straight Up, Head Over Heels, Spellbound. She dated Arsenio Hall. That sounds familiar. Suddenly feels very old. It's okay. It's okay. Opposites attract is still my jam. Kimmy Lockett says the nature of the case section says, as the only American Idol judge with American celebrity status, Abdul proved to be a huge asset to the show, which I love. Oh, yeah. And they didn't put that in the second part or like the facts of the case. So thank you for pointing that out, Kimmy. Cheryl C says, I would like to hear from the person that she told immediately after it happened to know what she said back when it happened. That would hold some weight for me. I would agree with you. The thing about it is it was so long ago, who's to say that person even remembers that happening? Like with this industry, I feel like, and it shouldn't happen, but I feel like stuff like this happens all the time. So are they going to remember 20 years ago? I think I agree with you. I think it would hold a lot of weight. Small says, I believe her 100% despite my bias. I believe her because of all the other stuff we've heard about AI and those production companies. This was pre-me too. I agree with you too. I think the way that the complaint is written, and I guess to write a complaint, you just need to plead facts sufficient enough to state a claim. And I think that the way that the complaint is written, it lacks a lot of facts. Not that she should have to relive it or whatever it may be. It just doesn't give a lot of detail. It's just like, and not that I need a lot of detail, right? I don't really want to hear about this stuff. It's like, we were in the elevator and then this thing's happened. I'm like, okay, so did he say like explicit things to you before getting in the elevator, or like constantly, and he just finally acted on it? Like, I think that would make her case a little bit more, a little stronger if he said other things. Not to say she can't win with just these claims, but I'm like, there's really no facts. It's just kind of like, okay, I went to dinner and then he climbed on top of me, and I went in the elevator and then he groped me. Like, was he doing weird stuff before? I think that would paint him in a worse light and make the facts more sufficient for the complaint, if that makes sense. But I mean, I guess that action would qualify to state facts sufficient enough to state a claim. But I just feel like it's one in a weird order. Like, they talk about her success and then they go to one incident, and then they talk about her success and then they go to one incident, rather than kind of building it up of these things kept happening. No one stopped him. It's just kind of like generalized, if that makes sense. Let's see here. Kimmy Locker says, Smalls, yeah, especially considering the Mad TV skit discussed later in the suit, which if you could get some more, and I'm sure she would testify to more once it goes to trial. I just feel like it wasn't a lot of information for me to really understand what was going on in the complaint. A Small says, is Stiller with RSD. Yep, all true. She's definitely made a name for herself, cementing her legacy, and they had the audacity to play in her face, shaking my head. Jazzy G says, I enjoyed watching So You Think You Can Dance. I like So You Think You Can Dance too. Stiller with RSD says, I love that song. I have all of her stuff on CD. My brother met her and they talked for more than an hour because we both have RSD CRPS. Apparently both cried. Did my brother call me so her and I could talk? No. He enjoyed all the time without you. That's kind of messed up, huh? Rachel Mills says, ill. Yeah, the guy is pretty ill. Small says, we not blaming the victim now, are we? No, we are not. I'm talking about how the complaint is written. Small says, especially considering the pressures in that industry, especially for women, especially back then too, especially for women of color, it's complicated, bruh. No, I get you. I got you. Rachel Mills says, yeah, I mean, it's not SA, but look at Jenny and JT, which one of them got vilified and the other shot to fame. That is also very true, especially, and that's in that time frame as well. Jazzy G says, that is cray. It is weird. Sillers with RSD says she doesn't have a choice as far as what part of it. Cheryl C says she did have reps at the time. I do wonder why she wouldn't bring one with her to the house. That's what I'm thinking too. That I probably would have, and I'm not there. And this is actually later. This is not even 2002. This is I think that first incident was somewhere around the 2002, 2004 mark. And then this incident was in 2015. I probably, if I was in the position, probably would have brought someone with me, or just not discussed any more business deals with this weirdo, because he's kind of weird. He's a strange guy, according to the complaint. Let me see here. She did have reps at the time. I do wonder why she wouldn't bring one with her to his house if they would be discussing opportunities if he assaulted her previously. And that's what I'm saying. Maybe it was so long ago that she forgot and then it just kind of triggered her, or maybe she thought he wasn't as weird anymore. I don't know. We would need her to state more facts for us. If he assaulted her previously, that might be a reason. I don't know. I feel like I probably wouldn't go to his house. Small says, oh, you def heard the music, Bree, guarantee it. You just don't know it was her. I agree with you. That happens a lot. Small says, oh, that J-Lo comparison, laughing my A off. You don't like it? Chantel says, Smalls, well, she did get sued for not singing, so... Upside Down says, sorry, Paula, put down the cocktail and make better decisions. She made herself a victim. It takes one time to know not to be around an abuser. And it could be tough, especially in the music industry, because a lot of people, they want to be in the industry. Like she said, she didn't want to be blackballed. She says that she couldn't really say anything. But I agree. I think Cheryl C said it earlier. I probably would have at least had a rep go with me, or at least not go to dinner at his house, like maybe a restaurant where other people are around. I think that would have been a better choice for them. For her, really, to not get, assaulted again. Rachel Mills says, upside down, that's not healthy. I mean, Weinstein, I don't know how to say his name, did this and it wasn't right. No, it's not right. It's not right. And I don't think it's, a part of me feel like she must have forgot or something. I don't think I would be along with that weirdo. Stiller with RSD says, OMG, can't say what I want to do to him. Not on YouTube. Upside Down says, agree with Rachel Mills, but he had already attacked her once. She went back for more. And we got to remember, this was a big gap. So the first incident happened in like 2002, 2000, I would say 2005-ish. And then this next incident was in 2015. So I'm thinking maybe it could have slipped her mind. I don't know. Okay. Rachel Mills says, if you're told by a powerful ex back in the day to show up, you show up unless you want to be blacklisted. And that's what she said. She was afraid to be blacklisted. Kimmy Walker says, upside down, she did go into a risky situation, but as Smalls and Rachel Mills said, there's a lot of pressure and nuance, and we shouldn't victim blame, which I don't think Bri was doing. Thank you, Kimmy. Yeah, I think it's just, one, the way the complaint is written, and two, I think it's very plausible that maybe she just forgot, because it had been a long time from the first incident. Upside Down says she had already made her mark. This was idle days is my understanding. The second one at his house was in, what do you call it? So You Think You Can Dance. The first one was during American Idol. Stiller with RSD says the accusation of her being drunk on the first show was actually side effects of her RSD. Really? I don't really know what RSD is, so I'm going to look it up when we get off of here. Small says, yeah, I feel you on that, Bri. More detail would make it stronger. And like I said, you only need to plead facts sufficient enough to state a claim. And technically, she did it. Not her, but her attorneys did it. I just don't think it's in the best order. And I don't think it really tells the story all the way. Upside Down says, I was pressured at NBC. I would never put myself in that situation. I walked away. They can keep their check. And some people are not as, that's a strong move in the industry. And I'm not in the industry, but I know how the industry can be. That's a really strong move. Kimmy Locker says, upside down, I understand it's great you're able to do that, but the first alleged incident happened in the elevator. Who's to say it wouldn't have happened walking to cars or something? That is also true. But I think what Upside Down is saying, why did she go to his house without anyone else? I don't think she has to kind of like blackball herself and give up on opportunities, but it's kind of like, well, don't go. And like I said, it could be very possible that it just slipped her mind that happened 10 years ago or however long ago it was. But I would probably say maybe a public dinner or like a dinner with my agent or something like that, if I know that person is aggressive in that way, especially if alcohol is involved. Small says everybody is different. That is also true. Cardova82 says, question, do we know if he told her that some other people were going to be there? No, got it. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. But she also didn't say. I feel like if he told her that would have been a very important detail to put into that. He told me this was going to be a dinner party. But she actually said that for us two to work together. And she thought it was a business proposal. So I don't think, based on the way that this is written, that he told her someone else was going to be there. But that is a good point to bring up. Small says, very strong. Not everyone is. People react differently. Flight, freeze, fight, fawn. Yeah, I agree with you. Everyone does act differently. And it's kind of the same thing with the Cassie lawsuit. As far as, okay, would you stay? Maybe you wouldn't, but did she want to be in the industry? Probably. So she would be more susceptible to those things. And other people just have way stronger personality and willpower to not be threatened, you know, like homegirl on Tasha K's show. She said, my NDA does not apply. So you never know like who you're dealing with. And that girl, she is in for a whirlwind. I do want to see how they handle that arbitration clause though, because they are saying that she is breaching that NDA. So I would like to see how they handle the arbitration clause in the Tasha K and Kevin Hart lawsuit. Tiny D says, question, can she go back and amend her initial complaint to add more detail? Yeah, especially if they dismiss it or they tell her that they're going to dismiss it unless she adds more facts, she can always amend it. So yes, she can go back. Small says, and he may have pressured her, coerced her, lied to her. So many variables we don't know. It's easy to say what she should have done in hindsight and or from a distance when you're not in that situation. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And we don't know. And that's where more facts would help. But also, they get to do discovery. She gets to go on the stand if it makes it that far. But with this, I would definitely move to dismiss this for a failure to state a claim. She has some incidences in there, but she like pleads something for April, who's not even there. Like, is April going to come and testify? And then she has 2 incidences of her own, which they are going to ask her about her credibility because it was so long ago, right? Why didn't you say anything from the beginning? So I think instead of those generic statements of saying they knew he was like this and they didn't do anything about it, give more examples of them knowing he was like this. Did he do this in front of some of the executives? How did he do it in front of some of the executives? And like I said, it's not going to be fun to relive it, but when you file a lawsuit, you are putting yourself under a microscope and you kind of have to get your statements out there. So I don't know what y'all think about that. Stephanie S says, good morning, everyone. Hello and good morning. It's nighttime over here. Nice to see you. Kimmy Locker says, the one thing that's a little strange to me is she knew the month and year of her assistant's assault, but not her own. I did not notice that. And maybe it could be because she knew they were in Las Vegas. That is a bit strange. Because she didn't even really give us a year or a season. She just said in the beginning seasons for the first assault. So that is a really good point to bring up, Kimmy. Saying good morning. Trauma. Okay. And we got one more case, y'all. So we are going to, let's see. If you have not hit the like button, please do. It helps us out in the algorithm. We are at 45 likes. We need 5 more likes for the live stream. We have to get to 50 likes. So if you have not already, please do hit the like button. It helps us out in the algorithm, helps us get more friends. And that's what we're trying to do all 2024. So if you have not hit the like button, please do. And also, if you're not subscribed, please do go ahead and subscribe. Okay. We have one more case that I'm not sure if people are going to want to listen to. It's going to be a pretty short kind of recap of Ruby Frankie. She was accused of harming her children, and her other friend was also, her business partner was accused of it as well. Ruby Frankie pled guilty. Oh, let me swoop. Ruby Frankie pled guilty, a week and a half ago, and then now her co-defendant came to plead guilty as well. So let's go ahead. I think Kimmy gave us the link to the video. So let me actually pull that up for us. I think it's pretty short. Oh, Law and Crime. Are they a striker? I think Law and Crime is a striker. I don't know if I'm gonna play this one because I think they are strikers. I'm not gonna play the hearing actually, because I don't want my whole video to get taken down for the end of the stream. So what is her name? Jodi Hildebrandt just recently got. Jodi Hildebrandt recently also pleaded guilty to the charges against her. Ruby Frankie pleaded guilty last week or a week and a half ago or so. and stated that she would be willing to testify against Jodi Hildebrandt. So Jodi Hildebrandt took the best route possible and saved the children from not having to testify against her, saved their mom, although I don't think that Ruby Franke is deserving of any saving. She should have been on the stand being embarrassed about what she did to her kids. Jodi Hildebrandt decided not to go forward with the case either and decided to plead guilty. So let's go ahead and take a peek at the plea agreement. Like I said earlier, it's very similar to the Jodi Hildebrandt case. I'm sorry, the Ruby Franke, her plea agreement. So we're not going to go through everything one by one like we did last week. So let's see here. Here we are. Okay, here's Jodi Hildebrandt's plea agreement. She has the same charges of ACA. She's facing 15 years, up to 15 years for each of the 4 charges that she pleaded guilty to. We went over the elements of the crime on the last live stream. So if you missed it, make sure you go back and check it out. She states, I understand that by pleading guilty, I would be admitting that I committed the crimes listed above. I stipulate and agree that the following facts describe my conduct and the conduct of other persons for which I am criminally liable. She's basically taken that blame for her and Ruby, just like Ruby had to take the blame for herself and Jodi. These facts provide a basis for the court to accept the guilty plea and prove the elements of crimes which I am pleading guilty to. Again, I am not going to read through these because we read through it in the last live stream. So if you missed it, make sure you go ahead and check it out over there. She goes ahead and waives her constitutional rights, the right to the jury trial, the right to confront witnesses, which would be wild because the witnesses are the children that you harmed. Right to compel witnesses, which is harmful because they're kids. And also, I guess Ruby Franke could have been called as well. The right to testify and a privilege against self-incrimination. She's basically conceding to self-incrimination. And she's also given up her right to be presumption of innocence until proven guilty. She's also given up her right to go ahead and appeal the case. So this is her crime. They should be sentenced probably in February, both of them, I think. They could get that maximum of 15 years. And they could also get the fines as well. So her plea agreement, my guilty plea is the result of the plea agreement between myself and the prosecuting attorney. Basically says that all of the promises, duties, and provisions of the plea agreement, if any, are fully contained in this statement. The defendant agrees to plead guilty to count 1, count 3, count 5, and count 6 of CA. The state agrees to dismiss count 2 and count 4. The defendant shall submit to a pre-sentence investigation with adult probation and parole. The defendant agrees to serve a prison term, and the sentence received for count 1, 3, 5, and 6 are to be served consecutive to each other. Just like we talked about in the last one, these are not going to go concurrent. So if she gets 5 years, 10 years, 10 years, and 5 years, she's going to be serving 20 years, not just 10 years because they're not being served at the same time. Otherwise, she can get 15 years for each count, which is the maximum, and she will be serving 60 years in jail, just like Ruby Franke. The trial judge is not bound to this. They have to basically approve it. She waives the rights to the firearms. Let's see. She's 54 of age. She attended school through 12th and 7th grade. I don't know what that means. She reads English. She's not impaired. She's basically agreeing that she understands what's going on here. And the court did sign it. So they accepted her plea, her guilty plea. So let's see here. Oh, okay. Oh, 7+ means higher. Thank you for letting me know that, Kimmy. I was confused. Okay, so we have another one that I don't think is a striker. I don't think they're a striker. So let's go ahead and check out the hearing here. Hopefully we'll be okay. I need to unshare it, then reshare it. the proper way. Okay. Got it.
Morning in the matter of State of Utah versus Jodi Hildebrandt, case 231501763. Mr. Clark and Mr. Sham are here representing the state of Utah, and Mr. Terry is here with Ms. Hildebrandt. We are scheduled for a waiver of preliminary hearing. Mr. Terry, it appears you have just handed the court a signed plea agreement.
That is correct, Your Honor. With respect to the waiver, Ms. Hildebrandt, we have had discussions. She fully understands the purpose of a preliminary hearing, what the burden of proof would be, and that she has the right to a preliminary hearing, but in conjunction with the entry of her plea today, we waive the preliminary hearing.
And in fact, there is a provision in the written plea agreement that operates as a waiver of the preliminary hearing. All right. Ms. Hildebrandt, I've been handed a written document, a plea agreement with your signature on it. Did you sign that document?
Yes.
And you did that to represent to the court that you have read the document carefully, that you understand what you've read, that you agree to all of the terms that are set forth in that written document?
Yes, sir.
You've had sufficient time to ask Mr. Terry any questions that you have about the agreement or its potential effect?
Yes.
Is anyone pressuring you to enter into this agreement, or is anyone promising you anything that I haven't been told about or that is not in the written document?
No.
Are you under the influence of alcohol or drugs today?
No.
Is there anything today that could interfere in any way with your ability to understand the agreement, or its potential consequences?
No.
No physical condition, mental health, or emotional condition, nothing that could interfere with your present ability to evaluate the agreement and decide if it's what you're prepared to do today?
No.
You don't need more time, you're ready to go.
Yes.
Any further record, counsel?
Your Honor, the agreement contains a factual basis. There are a few details in the factual basis that we are not in full agreement with. However, this is a guilty plea. It is not an Alford plea. The factual basis sets forth facts that we agree with, that Ms. Hildebrandt agrees with, that are sufficient for the court to accept her plea with respect to the 4 counts to which she is pleading guilty. And so we ask the court to accept her plea agreement.
And apart from what is in the written factual base in the plea agreement, you have, I'm assuming, reviewed voluminous discovery. You don't dispute whether there is an actual or an adequate factual basis.
We do not.
All right, then. Anything else before the court receives Ms. Hildebrandt's pleas?
No, Your Honor.
Nothing to say, Your Honor.
Then, Ms. Hildebrandt, how do you plead to count 1, aggravated child abuse, a second-degree felony?
Guilty.
And to count 3, aggravated child abuse, a second-degree felony?
Guilty.
To count 5, aggravated child abuse, a second-degree felony?
Guilty.
And to count 6, also aggravated child abuse, a second-degree felony?
Guilty.
The court finds that there is a sufficient factual basis. The court, in addition, finds that Ms. Hildebrandt's pleas are made knowingly and voluntarily. The court therefore accepts and enters those pleas, dismisses the remaining 2 counts. We are anticipating a PSI, although part of the plea agreement appears to be that Ms. Hildebrandt will not contest a prison sentence. Correct. Is that right?
That is correct. But we are asking for a PSI.
All right. Then the court orders the preparation of a pre-sentence investigation report and sets sentencing at 10:30 a.m. on February 20th. Anything else for today, counsel?
Okay, so she's gonna be February 20th, and I think Ruby's is after that. I think hers is like the 24th or something, if I remember correctly. But yeah, so she just basically accepted. She said that they basically said that she doesn't agree with the factual outline that's in the plea agreement, but they don't contest the fact that the state will have enough facts to prosecute her. So although she's pleading guilty, she doesn't necessarily agree that the incidents happen exactly how they are listed in the plea agreement, but she knows that they have enough. They have enough based on the discovery, if that makes sense. So let's go ahead and check out the chat. Let's see here. Rachel Mills says, did you see Girardi has to stand trial? I have not seen that. That would be interesting to cover next, huh? Cardoba82 says, really, Rachel Mills? I would love to follow that one. Yeah, I need to get back on it, y'all. I've been in my own trial. Upside Down says, these 2 need and should get life, in my opinion. Unfortunately, the max for each count is 15 years. Luckily, she's not contesting a prison sentence. I think they're going to get off, since they're not going to trial with like 1 year penalties for each count. I'm thinking that's what they're thinking. And I think they should get the 15 years for each count. So they do 60 years. Stiller with RSD says yes to which part? Upside Down says 15. Yes, 15 years per count. And there's 4 counts. So they're facing up to 16 years, both of them, or 60 years. Both of them are. Kimmy Locker says upside down, she's 54. So depending on how long she gets for each count, it could essentially be life since they're consecutive. Yeah, that makes, because she's 54, unless she lives to, what is that, 100 and something, 114, right? Then she's probably gonna die in jail, right? Black and Sing says done, 50 likes plus 3 new subscribers. We did it, Joe. We did it. Thank you. Thank you, Alice Swanky. Appreciate it. Upside Down says, thanks to Kimmy Locker, doesn't the plea agreement cover all of the charges? No, she actually only pleaded guilty to 4 out of the 6 of the charges, as did Ruby Frankie. Kimmy Locker says to Upside Down, it states the potential sentence according to law, which is 1 to 15 years per charge. Yeah. Stephanie S says, I really hope they don't just get 4 years. I'm thinking they think that's what they're going to get. And I'm wondering if that's what the prosecution promised. I hope the prosecution didn't promise them that. I'm glad it's not in the plea agreement, but sometimes they have like underlying things. They're requesting a pre-sentencing report to see like if she deserves 60 years. And hopefully the report says she deserves 60 years. Tiny D says, I doubt it, Stephanie. Jodi has been in trouble with her license before, so she technically has a history. But does Ruby have a history? I don't know. Let me know if y'all know. Other than the CPS reports, which no one ever did anything about. Kimmy Locker says to Tanya D, that was for violating her duties, though, not abuse. So I wouldn't think it would be a contributing factor in this case. Yeah, that might be true. Okay. Tiny D says, I know, but it's related to her license. So to me, that's the same, but that's just me. So it is what it is. And also we have to think about too, you can't use like prior bad acts unless they relate. So if she had like prior CA claims against her, then it would be more likely considered. But I'm thinking more along the lines with Kimmy that they probably won't consider, like they could probably use it to not give her license back if she ever gets out. But I don't think they could use it for her actual sentencing. But I agree. They should use whatever they can, but I don't think they can. Cardova82 says, ironic how the standing and truth crap has gone out the window. Yeah, it happens. Stephanie S says, seeing her like this must be so satisfying for her former victims. I don't know if they will let the kids in the court, but at least they get to watch it on YouTube when they're ready, right? Cardova82 says, I fear they are not going to get the max. I am afraid that's going to happen too. I agree with you because the prosecution saw fit to remove 2 of the charges. So I wonder why. Maybe it wasn't enough information on the other 2 charges, but I'm thinking they agreed to remove the 2 charges so that they wouldn't be facing, what would that be? 75, 90 years in jail. Now they're only facing the 60, but I agree with you, Cardova82. I don't think they're going to get the 15 years for each count. I really just don't think they're going to get it. Do they deserve it? Absolutely. They absolutely deserve it, but I have a feeling that the prosecution is not going to give it to them. And I could be completely wrong. Kimmy Locker says to Cardova82, they wouldn't have any reason to plead guilty, though, because I sincerely doubt they just did it to avoid making the kids have to testify. Agreed. I'm thinking that they probably told them you'll do a year for each count, maybe 5 years. I don't know, but I'm leaning more towards they're not going to get the full 15. Cardova82 says to Kimmy, oh yes, those 2 are charged with CA, and now they're thinking about the kids. No, they're not thinking about the kids. Kimmy Locker says, I don't think they're going to get the max though either. Yeah, I agree. I don't think they are. Kimmy Locker says the other 2 charges were for malnourishment, so I'm pretty sure they had more than enough evidence for that. Yeah, because I guess it was kind of intertwined with some of the other allegations. So I don't know why they dropped those ones individually. So, okay, y'all, that is all I got for the live stream today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. We got to 53 likes. Shout out to the Brihive for getting us to our 53 likes. I'm trying to find my little applause. Yes, thank you to the Brihive. Okay, we get it. Thank you to the Brihive for hitting 50 likes in a live stream. We actually had quite a few viewers today too, so shout out to the Brihive for joining in on the first live stream of 2024. I hope everyone had a wonderful, wonderful New Year's and holiday weekend or break. I don't know if it was a full break or what, but hopefully everyone enjoyed the holidays, and I will see y'all on the next live stream, which should be Thursday if I do not get any sicker, which hopefully I do not get any sicker. So I hope everyone has a good night, and I will see y'all later.